So here's a wild thought for you. What if the most advanced, most complicated factory in the entire universe wasn't built by humans in some fancy lab, but was actually inside of you right now? Trillions of them, actually. Today, we're going to take a tour of the microscopic engine of life itself, the cell.
To really get our heads around this, just imagine for a second. What if your body wasn't just one thing, but a massive community of trillions of tiny, super busy, self-sufficient cities, all humming along, working 24/7?
Well, here's the kicker. It's not science fiction. That's exactly what you are. Every living thing, from a speck of bacteria to a giant whale, is built from these incredible little structures. And we call them cells.
But, how did we even find out about this? For pretty much all of human history, we had absolutely no clue this hidden world even existed. Discovering it was this amazing journey of new technology and some really brilliant thinking. Okay, this right here, this is the big one. It's a simple idea, but it changes everything. It's the foundation of all biology, called the cell theory. It means that whether you're looking at a tree, a frog, or yourself in the mirror, the basic rules of life are all happening at this tiny cellular level. Breathing, moving, even thinking, it all starts right here. What's so cool is that this wasn't just one person's eureka moment. It took centuries to piece it all together. It really kicks off way back in 1665 with Robert Hooke, looking at cork through a primitive microscope and seeing these little boxes he called cells. But it wasn't until the 1800s that guys like Schleiden, Schwann, and Virchow finally connected all the dots, giving us the three main ideas we still use today. All living things are made of cells, the cell is life's basic building block, and every new cell has to come from one that already exists. All right, to really see how this microscopic city works, we're going to follow the creation of one of its most vital products, a protein. And our tour has to start at the top, in the head office.
So welcome to the nucleus. You can think of this as the cell's CEO suite, the big, secure command center. It's in charge not because it's thinking, but because it holds the single most important thing the cell owns, the master blueprint for the entire operation.
Inside this heavily guarded office is the DNA. This blueprint is absolutely irreplaceable, so it never leaves. It's way too valuable. Instead, when an order for a new protein comes in, the cell makes a photocopy of just the section it needs. This copy is a little molecule called messenger RNA, or mRNA for short. Think of it like a disposable memo that can then leave the office through these special security doors called nuclear pores and head out to the factory floor.
Okay, we've got our mRNA memo clutched in our metaphorical hand. We're leaving the quiet of the head office and heading out onto the noisy, bustling factory floor where the real building happens. The first workers to get a hold of our blueprint are the ribosomes. These guys are the actual builders. They're these tiny, amazing machines that read the instructions on the mRNA and start snapping together amino acids in the exact right sequence to build our protein. Now, these ribosomes do their work on this huge, sprawling network called the endoplasmic reticulum. We'll just call it the ER. And as you can see, it's kind of split into two different departments. You've got the rough ER, which is rough because it's covered in all those ribosomes. This is our main protein assembly line. And then you have the smooth ER. No ribosomes here. Its job is totally different. It's more of a specialized workshop, making things like fats and lipids, and also running the factory's detox facility.
So our protein's been built and folded, but it's not quite ready yet. It still needs some final touches and a shipping label. So our next stop is the factory's logistics hub.
And here we are at the Golgi apparatus. This is basically the cell's super efficient post office. It's where everything gets sorted, packaged, and shipped out. So here's how it works. Little bubbles, called vesicles, carrying our new protein pinch off from the ER and travel to the Golgi. Here, the protein gets modified a bit more, it's sorted, and it gets tagged with a kind of molecular zip code. Then, the Golgi packages the finished product into a brand new vesicle, which is then sent on its way to wherever it needs to go. Could be the cell's outer wall, another department, or even shipped outside the cell completely.
Now, of course, none of this incredible work could possibly happen without two absolutely critical support systems. You need a power source to keep the lights on, and you need a cleanup crew to handle the waste.
To power this whole operation, the cell has its own power plants and are called mitochondria. And this quote just nails it. They don't create energy out of thin air. They convert the fuel the cell takes in into a form that the factory can actually use to get work done. And that usable energy comes in the form of a special molecule called adenosine triphosphate, or ATP.
You have got to remember ATP. It is the universal energy currency for pretty much all life on this planet. It's like the cash that powers every single transaction inside our factory.
So how does the power plant make all this ATP cash? It's a super efficient three-stage process. First, fuel like sugar gets broken down, kind of like chopping up big logs into smaller pieces. Second, those pieces go into something called the Krebs cycle, which is like a furnace that burns the wood, releasing all this high-energy potential. And finally, all that energy is funneled into the electron transport chain, which acts like a massive turbine, using that energy flow to churn out huge amounts of ATP.
Okay, last stop on our tour. With all this manufacturing, things are bound to break, wear out, and make a mess. And that's where the cell's sanitation and recycling department comes in, the lysosomes.
Lysosomes are basically little sacs full of powerful digestive enzymes. They're the ultimate cleanup crew. They break down waste, but even more importantly, they recycle old machine parts, worn-out organelles, through a process called autophagy, which literally means self-eating. It's how the factory stays clean and efficient. And get this, if the cell is ever damaged beyond repair, the lysosomes have one last, very dramatic job. They can initiate a controlled self-destruct sequence to protect the entire organism.
So, from the blueprint in the nucleus to the energy from the mitochondria, every single part has to work together in perfect harmony. The level of coordination is just mind-boggling. And it really leaves you with one final big question. If this factory is so perfectly interconnected, what happens to the whole system, to you, when just one of these tiny essential machines breaks down? The answer tells us everything about both the incredible strength and the deep vulnerability of life itself.